Make a cluster book that's clusters and storage all in one. This cluster book is the latest hit from Tina at shabbydabbydoodah. And I must say, when you craft as much as we do, it's a game changer. Look at my 12 by 12 scrapbook paper collection. These were all my mum's. When I saw Tina make this cluster book, I was just as excited as she was, because when we're creating every day like we create every day. Anything that we can do that helps us make things easier and more streamlined, we're going to do it. So Tina, you're a genius. This is a brilliant idea. So here is my version of Tina's cluster book. And I've also made a removable storage folder, because I think when you start tearing your clusters out of this book, this storage folder is going to be really handy for you to put those ones that you don't use straight away into. Here's my collection of scrapbook papers. So I've been through and I picked out 6 sheets. This sheet here is a little heavier than these ones here that I'm going to use for my cluster pages. So I've picked them all out double-sided this time. My prototype had some white pages on the back. So I think this one's going to work out a lot better having a pattern on both sides. You don't need your cardstock to be really heavy. You just need something that's going to be easy to tear once you've made your book. If there's a description at the bottom of your cardstock, just cut that off. Just fold them in half. You've got a 12 by 12 sheet, so you're looking to make a 6-inch by 12-inch book. So just fold all of your sheets in half. I'm going to use this one for my cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it at the 6-inch mark. You don't have to score it. You can just fold yours straight in half if you don't have a scoreboard. I'm scoring it because it's going to do 2 things. It's going to help me fold the thicker cardboard easier, and it's going to give me a line to sew down. So I'm just folding them all separate. Yes, you can fold them all together if you want to. Now that I've folded them all in half, I'm going to make sure my cover's first, and then I'm going to put each sheet inside each other. Pretty easy so far. You don't even really have to worry about which colour goes with which colour, because it's a cluster book. You're going to be tearing everything out eventually. Now this one here I folded the wrong way because I want the gold on the centre of my book, because I'm going to put my clusters on this side and this side. So now this is ready to sew. On the first book, I didn't use the cover. On this book, I'm going to use the inside of the cover first. So it's up to you if you use this page, and then this page, and then this page, and so on. So if you do it that way, by the time you get to the middle, you'll finish here and you won't be able to use both sides of the middle. So just be aware of how you start using your pages. So I'm going to open up my book and lay it flat, and I'm just going to clamp the end of one side and the end of the opposite side. And then I'm going to sew straight down the centre. And I'm going to sew from the outside. You could sew from the inside if you feel more comfortable sewing this way. The stitch I'm going to use is a long straight stitch. I've got my stitch length on 4. I've just done a short back stitch. When I started, I sewed straight down that score line, and I've done a short back stitch when I finished. I've just cut off my threads and that's it for the binding. If you don't have a sewing machine, just pierce some holes in it and tie. You can hand sew it using the 3 pamphlet stitch, or you can just tie some thread through those holes. You'll end up with the same result. So now it's sewn, it's really easy to fold in half because it was already folded before I done my sewing. It's really a simple book to make. Now that's the book made. We're going to start making our first page of clusters. I'm just going to clamp the top of my pages, and I'm going to start by using some recycled paper. In this cluster book, I'm going to do it a little bit different to the way I done my first cluster book, and you'll see that when I do my flip through. This is the way Tina done it. She grabbed some paper pieces, whether they be from one of her kits, and she just tore them into pieces like this and then laid them down. And she was aiming to put 8 pieces per page. So you can lay them all down. You don't have to commit by gluing first. Just lay them all down and work out how you want them. I'm a fuss pot, can't you tell? I just keep moving things around. You don't have to do this. If you don't care about which way your torn pieces are, just lay them down and get on with it. Oh God, I've got this bad. Oh dear. Anyway, I eventually have my bottom pieces in place. Then I've got some very, hardly any print on them actually, Edith Holden paper pages. There's nothing left on them. These are something that I didn't think I would ever get to use. But I'm going to tear them and just place them over the top. This is proof that we really don't waste anything in junk journaling. So I'm just tearing these paper pieces as much as I can to get as much use out of them as I can. And I'm being repetitive here just so that the video doesn't get 5 years long. And I think this craft colour paper looks beautiful with the blue background of the scrapbook paper. This is a teddy butterfly. How I made these, I'll put the video link below so that you can make some if you like them. Now this is a great tip and a time saver. If you've made any paper snippet rolls, use them here. They are fantastic, and gosh, this saved me some time. So this is the one that my friend Deb made, and I love this. So I've just torn off where I wanted it, and it's got lots of snippets of Edith Holden on here too. So it went well with the little bit of page that I just tore off. So I'm just tearing, and then I cut across the stitch that she's put down the center. And then I just laid that over the top. It really made these clusters come to life. They look so good. And here's some of the ones I put in my first book. I've used the teddy butterflies here. These are stickers off a scrapbook sheet. This is from Kaiser Craft. So I'm going to use the stickers because it's got the background of the craft paper. I'm going to bring that across here. This was my mum's and it's really old, so the stickers don't stick that well, so I can move them around if I change my mind. So I'm going to put this black one on. I'm going to put it up here because there's some black text in this snippet roll. And this one here, I used a combination of a snippet roll that I made as well as the snippet roll that Deb made. I've used skeleton leaves, I've used tabs, I've used fussy cut flowers, I've used whatever I could find, a little bit of seam binding, I've used lace, I've used paper lace, I've just used so many things. I'll show you how I made most of these clusters on the next video. And now I'll just show you how I've made the cluster storage folder. I'm using business size sticker pockets, and I'll put a link to these in the description box below. I absolutely love these. I first saw these on a video that Sharon Howarth made. Thanks for the tip, Sharon. I absolutely love them. So I jumped on Amazon and I ordered some. So I can definitely recommend them. I've put the link in the description box below if you want to grab some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two ways you can do this. You can just make some storage pockets on a sheet, and then you can make a little folder. So we'll make the sheet first. So the cluster book is 6 inches wide, and I'm going to make this sheet 5 1/4 inches wide. So the folder will be 5 1/4 inches wide as well. So we'll make the sheet first. So whatever you do, you just got to make it that little bit narrower than your cluster book. And this was a piece of scrapbook cardstock that my mum had, that she cut a couple of hearts out the bottom. So that's why I just am making this as a sheet, just so that I can use it up. So I'm just cutting off my business card stickers here, just so I can work out whether I want to put 4 pockets or 3. And I'm only going to put 3 because if I put 4, it's going to be overloaded. So I'm going to put my first pocket on the bottom. Now when you peel it off the backing, the whole back of this little pocket is a sticker. So all you got to do is peel it off and then place it down on your cardstock and rub it down. And that is it. And make sure that your pocket opening is facing the top. Now I've just put my ruler to the right hand side of the bottom pocket, just so I can line it up, and I'm going to put my pocket at the top, and I'm leaving a fairly big gap from the top of my pocket to the top of my scrapbook cardstock. And then I'm going to put my middle pocket in the center of those 2 pockets. Right, so now I've stuck the middle pocket in place. I'm just going to cut a little bit off the height of this, just so it tucks away nicely inside the cluster book. So you can use a paper clip and just pin that to the inside cover or anywhere you like inside your book. This time I'm going to make it into a little folder. So I'm grabbing my 12 by 12 sheet of quite thin cardstock. You don't want anything too heavy. I'm scoring down on 5 1/4 inch, and then I'm just going to fold that. I'm going to flip it over and put it back on my scoreboard, and at 5 1/4 inch I'm just going to move over another 1/8 of an inch and score again. That just gives it that little bit of room so that when I fold this over, it's not going to hit that cut edge. And I'm going to shorten it again because I want this to tuck inside my cluster book. So I'm just going to cut a bit off the top, bottom, doesn't matter. Probably about 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to round the corners on the short fold of the folder. I'm going to grab 6 of the business card sticker pockets, and I'm going to put a row of 3 on one side and a row of 3 on the left side, and that's it. That is my folder made, and that's giving me 6 pockets. And this is going to enable me to put in any of my leftover clusters once I tear out a page, because there's 8 clusters per page in my cluster book. Say I only want to use 2 of them, I'm going to have 6 clusters left over, or maybe 1 or 2, and they're going to be floating around. So what I can do here is I can pop them in these pockets and then pop this folder back inside my cluster book, and I'll always know where they are. and I can reuse this over and over and over again. So I love this idea. I hope you enjoy making this as much as I did. And shout out again to Tina over at shabbydabbydoodah. If you make one of these cluster books, hashtag cluster book so everyone can see what you made. Don't forget, watch the next video on some ideas of how I've made my clusters. Ciao for now.